Have you ever wondered what lies behind your partner's refusal in certain aspects of intimacy? In a relationship, the way we handle each other's desires and boundaries reveals a lot about the strength and depth of the connection we share. Allow me to share a story about a woman whose wisdom may bring a new perspective on respect, understanding, and true intimacy. In a quiet little town in the Colorado mountains, where snow-capped peaks rise against the blue sky and the pure air seems to carry ancient stories, lived a lady named Marjorie. At 85 years old, Marjorie was a revered figure in the community. Her home, a charming wooden cabin surrounded by pine trees and wildflowers, was a place of peace and reflection for all who visited her. Marjorie was known for her wise words and her ability to offer advice on the challenges life brings, especially when it came to matters of the heart. On a summer day, when the sun was shining brightly and the birds were singing among the trees, a young couple, Daniel and Grace, hiked up the trail to Marjorie's house. They had been married for a few years, and although they had a solid and loving relationship, there was an intimate issue that was creating discomfort between them. "Mrs. Marjorie," Daniel began, his voice laden with concern and uncertainty, "Grace and I have a question in our relationship that I really would like to understand better. There are certain aspects of our intimacy that Grace doesn't feel comfortable exploring, and this confuses me. How should I interpret this refusal? Does it mean that something is wrong between us?" Marjorie, always attentive and empathetic, smiled gently at the couple and invited them to sit on the porch, where the view of the mountains in the distance and the soft sound of the wind among the trees offered a serene backdrop. "My dear ones," she began, in a soft and comforting voice, "intimacy is a vital part of any relationship, but it's important to remember that it should always be built on the pillars of respect and mutual understanding. Not always what one of you desires aligns with what the other feels comfortable offering, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. Allow me to share a story that might help clarify this issue." Marjorie paused, allowing the couple to relax and prepare to hear her narrative. "Many years ago, in this very city, there was a couple named Martin and Lydia. They were known for their strong connection and the love they shared. Martin was a man of grand gestures and always sought ways to surprise Lydia, but like many, sometimes he didn't fully understand the boundaries that Lydia set in their intimacy. Daniel and Grace listened attentively, eager to discover what they could learn from Martin and Lydia's story. Martin, one day, began to feel that something was missing in his intimate relationship with Lydia. He had the desire to explore new aspects of their married life, something he believed could bring them even closer together. When he expressed his desire, Lydia, although loving and dedicated, refused, explaining that she wasn't comfortable with the idea. Marjorie looked at the couple with an understanding gaze and continued, "At first, Martin felt confused and even a bit hurt. He wondered if Lydia's refusal meant that she didn't love him as much as he thought, or if there was something wrong with him. But instead of insisting, he decided that the best way to handle the situation was to have an open and honest conversation with Lydia about his feelings, but especially about hers. Martin, with his caring way, created a safe space for Lydia to share her concerns and boundaries without fear of being misunderstood. Lydia explained to Martin that her refusal was not a rejection of him, nor a lack of love, but rather a matter of respecting her own feelings and personal boundaries. She needed Martin to understand that intimacy should be a mutual experience of comfort and acceptance, and that forcing oneself to cross personal limits could do more harm than good to the relationship. Marjorie paused, letting her words echo in Daniel and Grace's minds. Upon hearing this, Martin began to realize that true love does not require the other to compromise their values or push past their limits. He understood that intimacy is not just about satisfying one's own desires, but about creating an environment where both feel safe, respected, and loved. Thus, he chose to respect Lydia's boundaries, and together they found other ways to strengthen their connection, ways that did not involve compromising the comfort or principles of either of them. Daniel and Grace exchanged glances, starting to see their own situation from a new perspective. Marjorie, realizing that her words were beginning to have the desired effect, continued, "The story of Martin and Lydia teaches us that a partner's refusal in certain aspects of intimacy should not be seen as rejection, but as an opportunity to deepen mutual understanding. When you approach these issues with love, patience, and respect, you are building a solid foundation for the relationship, a foundation that can withstand challenges and grow stronger over time." She then emphasized the importance of open and honest communication in any relationship. It is crucial that you feel comfortable discussing your desires, fears, and boundaries, knowing that the other will always listen with empathy and without judgment. True intimacy goes far beyond the physical. It is built on a foundation of trust, respect, and genuine love. Both of you should feel valued and secure, knowing that your needs and boundaries will always be respected. Marjorie concluded her story with a profound reflection that touched Daniel and Grace's hearts. Martin and Lydia lived a long and happy life, always respecting each other's boundaries and finding new ways to express their love. They discovered that true intimacy is not about forcing the other into something they do not want, but about building a connection that celebrates differences and values what is comfortable and desired by both. In the days that followed, Daniel and Grace began to apply the lessons they had learned. They realized that Grace's refusal was not an obstacle in their relationship, but an opportunity to strengthen communication and mutual respect. They began to see that by respecting each other's boundaries, they were creating an environment of love and safety, where both could grow and flourish together. Over time, Daniel and Grace discovered that mutual respect and open communication were the keys to a healthy and lasting relationship. The conversations that once were difficult began to flow more naturally, and they found themselves closer than ever. Instead of seeing refusal as a problem, they began to view it as a sign of deep trust and respect. Their relationship grew stronger, sustained by the understanding that true love does not demand but respects and values what the other has to offer. Daniel and Grace's relationship continued to evolve, and every challenge they faced together served to reinforce the solid foundation they had built. They learned that when both feel secure and respected, intimacy grows in a natural and healthy way. They found joy in the little things, in the moments of affection, and in the deep conversations they shared. From this understanding, their love blossomed in a way that neither of them could have ever imagined. Reflecting on Marjorie's advice, Daniel and Grace understood that the true meaning of intimacy lies not in grand gestures, but in the small moments of understanding and respect that build trust between two people. They realized that love is a continuous process of learning and adaptation, where both need to be willing to listen, respect, and grow together. If this story brought something valuable to you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more reflections on life and love. Share in the comments your own experiences on how respect and understanding have strengthened your relationship. We are here to learn and grow together, so until next time.